Whether it's cereal for breakfast, soup for lunch, or pasta for dinner, it's hard to get through the day without eating something out of a bowl. If it looks anything like this one, all that good food is being served up in a bowl made out of mud. The mud they use to make ceramic bowls is a mixture of water and clay. Minerals are also added, including feldspar and talc, which both help to solidify the mix when it's fired in a kiln. Once the mud-like clay is mixed, it's pumped into felt screens inside a filter press to dry it out. The press works like an accordion, slowly squeezing the screens together to wring out the excess water in the slurry. When the press is finished, a worker peels away a thick slab of clay or cake from each screen. The process of mixing and then pressing the clay is the only way to ensure the uniform mix of ingredients that's needed to make the bowls. But the cakes have to go through one final mix before the clay is the right consistency to be turned into crack-free bowls. To get the clay just right, the cakes are dropped into a mill where they'll be chopped and churned by rotating steel blades. The chopping action does more than just break apart the cakes. It also redistributes the remaining moisture in the clay so the bowls dry evenly and won't crack. As the clay is chopped, it's sucked through a vacuum in the machine to break apart air bubbles in the clay that could also cause cracks. The bubble-free clay drops out of the vacuum onto a huge rotating corkscrew called an auger. The auger forces the clay through a mold or die that spits it out like a giant clay sausage. It now has just the right mix and moisture content to be turned into bowls. That happens in a machine that works in a similar way to a potter spinning a pot on a potter's wheel. A blob of clay is placed in a bowl-shaped mold on the machine. The machine then starts to spin like a potter's wheel as a heated rotating roller drops down on the clay. While a worker squirts it with water to keep it lubricated, the roller presses into the clay to force it into the mold to shape it into a bowl. The steel roller is heated to 100 degrees to keep the clay soft and pliable. There's even a carbide steel scraper on the side of the machine. This is to scrape off the extra clay around the edge to smooth out the bowl's rim. Here's a look at the machine in action without any clay on the wheel. It takes only 10 seconds for the machine to turn a blob of clay into a bowl. After a quick trip through a hot air blower, the clay is nearly dry. However, the surface of the bowl is still a little rough from all the machining. So the bowls take a quick spin on a potter's wheel where they're sanded by hand to remove the rough spots. A wipe down with a sponge makes the surface super smooth. The bowls are then sprayed with glaze. It looks powdery now, but after it's fired, the glaze melts into a glassy, waterproof finish that strengthens the clay by 50%. The glazed bowls are fired inside a huge gas-powered kiln at 1,100 degrees. The intense heat not only melts the glaze, it also fuses together the ingredients in the clay to harden the bowls. The bowls are fired for 8 hours and are left in the kiln to cool overnight. The next morning, the kiln opens to reveal finished bowls that are ready for your morning cereal or whatever else tickles your taste buds.